Get Into Geek. This is episode 188. We are talking Stargate at last, basically. I mean, I've joked we've come back on after a brief hiatus in the past, and this is only really working if you're listening to us live. And I went, oh, how do we do this again? I kind of mean
that was last week.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Listening along.
Those catching up.
I never forget how to rank. It can be,
God, yeah.
you know, it can be any amount of time.
I've been practicing this rank.
Yeah, it's muscle memory. You know, your body just knows what to do. Just go straight into rank mode.
Well, and as Matty he can attest, during the high, I said, mate, you're gonna have to send me some. You're gonna have to send me and remind some info and remind me how to rank. And so Matty was good. He sent me some pictures.
Yeah,
some personal pictures.
Some good rank material.
Yeah. Which
is
was
our
helpful.
This is our first threesome rank. First threesome rank.
That's right.
Yeah, I suppose normally it's more than it's normally 4 or 5, isn't it?
Normally we can go 2 on 2 or 3 on 1 if we want to. But this one's like literally circle jerk, like that one wonderful listener said this podcast was
triangular.
Triangular jerk.
Yeah. At least we've progressed from just 4 white guys with a podcast to a circle jerk of the podcast. It's this type of progression. Yeah. Do a podcast. No one really needs to know or care at this point because I'm sure they already know. But I'm Mitch, and then we got Maddie and Brendan, and
what's up?
We're here for your ranking pleasures on this fine evening or day, depending on when you're listening to us.
Yeah.
So as usual, we'll do a bit of mailbag after this.
Yeah,
just have a general chit chat.
As we always say, you've got to rank, then empty your mailbag. That's
it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So get your spreadsheets ready.
Yeah. This is our first Zoom rank too. Like normally we rank.
Spread your sheets and go hard.
normally we rank in the same room together. We're in 3 separate rooms. So
this is a virtual rank. I like it. It's kind of hard.
It's interesting.
Oh, we dressed appropriately for it, so
I'm still not wearing pants.
Feels like 2003 all over again.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we probably would have been dressed even more appropriately for it because I think on our last podcast, which was back in 2012, and Joz, who obviously always dresses in a robe for our podcast, we said we'll all dress in a robe for our next one. But we've changed seasons potentially more than once since our last podcast, and it's seasonably hot here in Australia. It's still, look, if we're ranking, it's still robe worthy for sure, and nothing else. But it didn't feel right, at least to me, that we robed as a unit without Joz present. I just felt like that was disrespectful to Daddy, and I don't want to be doing that.
No,
I feel like from the waist up though, we're all dressed appropriately. Mitch is wearing some kind of sporting shirt from whatever I can tell. Brendan wearing his M&M, and I'm wearing a Stargate shirt. So
you're wearing us.
Get into
I've got you guys on my body.
Put the lotion on its skin.
You're about to rank, and you're wearing my and Brendan's face on your chest already. I mean, this could be a lot of fantasies covered off tonight.
This is awesome.
I was prepared.
I'm gonna have to bring up an IMDb list because I can't remember half of these episodes by name.
Like it's been 18 months since we started season 8, and I'm really trying to remember what I've had to write notes of what half these episodes actually are because it's been so long since we've.
I should have written the order that they actually appeared in because one's like Endgame and Icon. I have no idea where they are.
I have that. Icon was fairly.
Oh, that's that's what we did last time, right? We went through the list in order.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And then said what they were.
Okay, well, I can do that. I've got the list in order. All right. So first we had New Water parts 1 and 2. So Jack's in charge of the base. The next episode was Lockdown.
Hang on, what? I thought, what was the episode where you got unfrozen? That was it, right?
You got unfrozen. And then, because that's right, Weir was in New Water, wasn't she? Weir was in New Water, and then she hands over to Jack.
Jack was frozen. He created, on Thor's ship, he created the gauntlet, which destroyed the replicators.
The replicator weapon. Yeah, we had that. Then we had Lockdown with the Anubis cloud taking over people, giving them face herpes.
Yeah, it was boring.
Then we had 0 Hour with Little Shop of Horrors references with the plant going through the base and Jack writing his letter to quit and all that kind of stuff.
We didn't have the red
the bunting. The bunting, yeah.
It's not the same. Bunting. That's the bunting episode. I'm writing bunting.
Then we had Icon, which was that horrible Daniel Jackson episode where he's in that leather jacket with the lamb's wool collar, and he was inappropriate with a really young girl who
again
could have been that guy's wife or daughter. We still don't know.
Yeah. Daniel Ranger. Daniel Ranger.
After that
she was a
Avatar.
redhead, right? She was a orangutan.
Yeah. After that was Avatar, which was the computer game with Teal'c and Daniel.
The Matrix.
The computer game.
Teal'c and the Matrix.
Then we had Affinity with Teal'c living off world with Lois Lane. Oh, not off world, off base with Lois Lane.
Oh yeah, that was hot.
We had Covenant.
No, I'm calling that one Lois and Teal'c.
Lois,
nice.
The adventures of Lois and Teal'c.
The new adventures.
Of Lois and Teal'c. No, that's the reboot.
Yeah, right. It's the original.
Yeah. Then we had Covenant with Mr. Sheffield and the empty Asgard body.
Oh yeah, the clone.
Yeah, when we find out about the trust and all that kind of shit.
Mr. Sheffield.
Yeah.
Mr. Sheffield's good.
Yeah. Then we had Sacrifices, My Big Fat Jafar Wedding.
That's right.
Yeah. Then we had Endgame. I can't tell you what happened in that one because I legitimately don't remember.
That's the one with the trust, I think.
Well, there's like a trio of like because there's Endgame and then there's like Full Alert, and I can never tell you which one's which. Like, is Endgame the one where they go to Russia?
Endgame is the one where that guy pulls out the gun and it's like an automatic pistol.
Oh, that narrows it down. That episode of Stargate with the guns in it. Yeah, that narrows it down.
The one in the street. The black guy in the trench coat, he pulls out the automatic pistol.
Oh, yeah, had the cloaked Alkesh.
It was really forgettable.
Yeah. After that was Gemini, 2 Carters. Replicator meets normal Carter.
Yep. Okay.
On
the
Alpha base?
Yeah.
Alpha site. It's been so long. I'm forgetting the right words. Jesus. After that was Prometheus Unbound with Vala taking over the Prometheus.
Yeah, love it.
Then we had It's Good to Be King with old Harry as king on the planet and the jumper.
Yeah. Full
Alert, which was that other trust episode. I think that's the one with like Kinsey maybe where he gets the Goa'uld put in him.
Yes.
Could be.
Kinsey Gould.
Yeah. Citizen Joe, obviously the flashback with Homer.
Yep.
Then we got Reckoning Part 1 and 2, which is obviously the big ender. It's a blast door. Replicator versus Anubis versus the Jafar, like they're all like doing their own shit, and Replicator's pretending to be Omar to get shit out of Daniel's head.
This is the one where Daniel dies again.
Yeah, and then there's all
Daniel's
the stuff on Dakara and all that gear. And then we had Threads where Daniel's in the diner after he's been killed.
Yeah.
And then there's all that stuff where they're trying to take back Dakara and all that kind of stuff from Anubis. And then Mobius, the time travel, the season finale.
Oh yeah, we know that one.
Yeah. So all up, there were 20 episodes in this season. By the time you sort of double up the 2-parters like we normally do, there's 17 episodes all up. So I've actually done a top 7, a middle 7, and a Cooper 3 down at the bottom.
I didn't even check who wrote them. Which one? Endgame was there, the Trust one.
Yeah. Endgame and Full Alert.
So many forgettable episodes. I know that. Even though we watched them a while ago, it's forgettable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few there that like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That'll be down on my bottom. And then that sounded really wrong. The bottom of my list. Jesus Christ, I've got to think of how to do this. When we go live, I'm going to get this right. Don't worry about it.
Fix it in post.
There's a lot of, it like season 8 for me, I really like because there's the good stuff's really good.
Yeah.
Like you get your Threads, and Threads is excellent. It's like one of the, as a double feature, especially, it's one of the best episodes of the entire franchise. But then you've got, some otherwise very forgettable sort of stuff in
there. If you pick a top 7 or 8, it's easy.
Yeah, easy. And that's why I was quite comfortable doing a top 7, a middle 7, and a bottom 3, just because I feel like there's daylight between the bottom 3 and the okay 7. Like if I try to do like a top 7, a middle 3, and a bottom 7, I think I would have a harder time. But for me, there's clearly 3 absolute steaming piles of garbage, and then the middle 7 being okay, and then some phenomenal tops.
All right. So what are we doing? What do we normally do?
We start with the bottom.
Start from the bottom 3.
Well, we go. Yeah. So I'll go first. So I've got in my number.
We do bottom 4 just for ranking purposes. You know how we do
a spreadsheet problem. Is it for your spreadsheet? Is that?
I haven't got one prepared, but I feel like if we have more data, we can get a more.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So well then in my number 14 spot, which is 4th from the bottom. So my number 14 spot, I've got Covenant, which is Mr. Sheffield.
Ooh, okay, nice.
Then into my official bottom 3, positions 15 and 16 for me, interchangeable because I can't tell you which episodes is which. It's Endgame and Full Alert.
Yeah, okay.
No idea. Judd, Kinsey, Alkesh. I can't tell you which one's in which. And then my bottom for this season, number 17, is Icon.
Ooh, wow. See, I really was expecting you to say Sacrifices, the big fat Jafar wedding.
Big fat Jafar wedding. There's a couple of
because you hated that when we did the podcast. I remember
there's a couple of okay moments in it, and I do enjoy Ishtar, especially from her, her first appearance last season. I quite enjoy Ishtar. But all of Ryak's wedding can go get far.
Yeah, Ryak. There's like out of all the characters who got a wedding in this series, Ryak.
Yeah, Ryak. Really? Ryak. Yeah.
Like, did Daniel get a wedding?
Yeah. I was hoping
we didn't see Daniel's wedding.
No.
He's the only guy that actually got married, and we didn't see his wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was hoping in the middle of the ceremony, Ryak would like try and bite down on a tooth and try and off himself.
That would have been a great twist. He just dies. Everyone in the room dies, including his unborn child.
Yeah.
Whoops. Twist.
Brilliant.
That was some 7 shit. I'll go because I think Mitch is still going. I'll go my 14th. And lots of my bottom 4.
Yeah.
Starting episode the 14 will be Full Alert. Same thing. I can't remember it. Endgame is 15th for me.
Yep.
Then I've got my second worst for the season, Sacrifices, the Jafar wedding.
Yeah.
And again, Icon.
Yeah,
it's probably for me it's up there in the top 5 worst of the whole series. Because I just don't remember it, and it's got no need to be there.
Yeah, and it doesn't really add anything to the overall sort of
anything
like world of Stargate. Yeah. I mean, that planet does come back next season.
Yeah, because the redhead's in universe, isn't she?
No, that's a different redhead. That's the redhead from.
God damn, that's racist of me.
There's a planet. We go back to the planet in season 9 and something really devastating happens there. And it's another reason to hate these people and that planet. Like there's just nothing good ever comes from this planet. But I feel like as much as I enjoy Ethon, probably
I think I've seen season 9 and 10 the least.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See, for me, I can rewatch them as like their own little 2 seasons. So
yeah, it's probably a good idea.
We'll get to it, but yeah, something in that episode in Ethon happens that's really hard to watch. But I feel like that episode, as much as I enjoy it, as hard it is to watch that episode, you really don't need anything from this episode to help give you context for that episode. It could have been just any other random planet. It didn't have to be this planet.
Yeah.
So yeah, Icon, like literally, I just remember Daniel Jackson in his like Earth jacket, like, which is weird because he's not on Earth, but he's wearing like that brown leather jacket with the lamb chop play along collar on it, and that's all I remember.
Yes. Good reference.
The Wolverine kind of legend of the jacket.
Yeah. So good to know that other planets make jackets exactly the same as we do. All right, Mitchie, what do you got?
So we're going from the bottom 4, right?
Yeah, so 14 position.
I was a bit torn actually between these two, and also I'll give, I guess, what's going to be my 5th one. Between the two, it was Lockdown or Endgame for that 4th of the bottom 4 spots. And I think...
Oh, so you had them in your like 13 and 14.
They're my bottom, the bottom 5. And I think I will, for number 4, I will go Lockdown.
Which one's
I think
that?
It's the Anubis Cloud, right? The Russian guy. And I think only because
space herpes.
Yeah,
fair call.
I liked in a way the entry of and seeing everything through this Russian guy's point of view, I guess, and especially being from a foreign power and all that. But I think just considering the episode wrapped up with him frozen on some other planet or whatever, it was very self-contained, and in a way it felt a little bit like an early season Stargate episode, but not a good one, just more of a filler one. And so it's not necessarily a bad episode. It's just because it's what would have been a middle of the road episode 7 or 8 years ago. It's still a middle of the road episode, but because it's like we've seen this before and the story's progressed beyond this, it's probably just gets pushed down just a little bit for that.
We've seen it before, just a different character.
The first episode after like Jack becomes the general as well. It's like of all the things they could have done.
And then they have with the Bunting episode with 0 Hour. Isn't it the next one?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of base stuff early on in this season, which is kind of like, come on, can we do something fun? Please.
This one, like, I'm surprised it was down there. I guess, and I think I'm talking about Full Alert, that it was that we almost didn't get to see. Like, there was a lot of great stuff, but like that was the last time we see Kinsey, right? Is this final Kinsey in Full Alert?
Was it Full Alert or Endgame? I couldn't tell you.
It was Full Alert.
Was one Full Alert?
Right, yeah, and it just felt so anticlimactic.
That's the one with Kinsey as the picture in the episode.
Oh, okay. You've got visual references. Yeah,
so that's fuming.
That must be the one taken over. Taken over by Goa'uld. And then at that very, very last second, you see him on the bridge of the Alkesh, and then it's insinuated that he's beamed out, and we never see him again.
Yeah, like there's a lot of cool shit in there that, again, I like that we're still able to, 7 years on after having this giant war over Antarctica, and we've beaten all these Goa'uld and time traveled and all kinds of shit and interactions with other aliens, that in season 8 we can still have this sort of Cold War aspect going on between the two superpowers to do with gate travel and the idea that that they've been taken over, and it still felt very real. I remember saying that in our podcast. The threat still
I even forgot all about that.
Yeah, literally, it's the
Russian
longer I'm
thing.
going on a tangent, it's coming to me. So if you would have just asked me cold at the start, just give me 3 words, no idea. But that I like the idea that the threat that a Goa'uld could take over someone in a high it wasn't the president, but it was like a high military guy. That felt very dangerous. After everything we've already been through, that felt really dangerous. So I like that, but then it sort of seemed to not quite pay off on that, and then to also finish off the Kinsey story the way that they did in an anticlimactic way. It just felt like it was
like Game of Thrones. End of Game of Thrones. It was
basically.
That's not how he was meant to die. Like he wasn't meant to horribly.
Yeah. Rocks fell on them. I felt.
If only they'd
that would have been better.
To the left.
Yeah.
Rocks fell on him would have been better.
Yeah,
true.
Still don't know what happened to him. I always get confused between him and Simmons getting sucked out of the airlock.
Yeah, me too. Until we rewatched it, in my brain for the last 15 years, I'm like, oh no, that's the episode Kinsey dies.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until we rewatched, I'm like, oh shit, we don't know what happens to him.
Yeah.
Did he get beamed out to Earth? Did he get beamed out on another
into the vacuum
cloaked
space?
ship? We never know.
Yeah.
Second last one is unsurprising, I guess, because considering the way we've been talking about it. Sacrifices. Probably could have been the bottom one, but I will go ahead and say the bottom one is Icon, Man, because we've all been talking about it so far. And I remember nothing about it. Even the description saying, the Stargate Discovery creates a war between two nations. I'm like, that could be any one of 5 episodes in 8 years.
Yeah. Remember that one back from season 3 where it's in the rock wall? He's like, they're gonna come true. Like, that's the synopsis for that episode.
I listened to our podcast with that the other day for some reason. And that part makes me laugh.
And
every time you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sacrifices, I don't know why it gets the edge over that. Maybe because I do remember parts of it, but yeah, you're right. There's a lot of frustration stuff there. But like Maddie said, there is some good stuff there. And I do like exploring the not mythology, but the world building of what it means to be a Jafar and touching back on those relationships that we'd seen before in the what was the episode of the all female warriors, the Jafar from last season?
Birthright.
Yeah, Birthright. Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, and so to sort of follow up on those threads in that episode.
Am I right, man?
And to sort of try and fill in the gaps of what had happened between Birthright and Sacrifices, but in the end it was a little bit too much. Like, we don't want to get married anymore because he's a liar, and I don't. It's like, come on,
he's a liar.
I'm pretty sure she spoke like that. Totally. So anyway,
that was his first mum, the Valley Girl.
That's it.
The Valley Girl hooker.
Now because there is
occupation.
Now, because there is only just the 3 of us for the rank, I did hit up Jacob, who was with us a couple of episodes ago. I hit him up for his top 3 and bottom 3. So he did send me through his bottom 3 for this season, and very much like he's got in position 15, he's got Lockdown. Position 16, he's got Sacrifices, and position 17, he's got Icon. So very similar to what we've all got. All right, so moving on from there, we'll sort of quickly just run through just our middle section, which, a lot of the time can be interchangeable, so there's no particular order. So my middle section running upwards from position 13, so this will be sort of a middle 6 since we kind of did a bottom 4. But running up from position 13, I've got Lockdown, position 12, Sacrifices, position 11, Affinity, which is the adventures of Lois and Teal'c.
Lois and Teal'c, really?
Lois and Teal'c.
Come on.
10, Avatar, the video game episode. 9 was 0 Hour with the bunting and all that kind of stuff. And this one, I apologize, Brendan. I put it as high as I could, but number 8, It's Good to Be King.
I'm not surprised.
It's a good episode. But there's just so many other episodes above it that I enjoy more that it just missed out on my top 7.
I mean, there's a few things in A Good to Be King that could have been better, but I just like the concepts, and I think that's what I like most about science fiction is your imagination runs away with it.
Yeah,
so just
definitely.
The fact they had this column with ancient writing, and they're like, oh yeah, it's thousands of years old, and it's written about SG-1, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
that blew my tiny mind.
And then in the very opposite of Full Alert, in the way, Kinsey, who's been around since season 1, we really get an unsatisfying final episode for him.
Yes.
Mayborn comes back, and we get a really satisfying final episode really for him. It's really satisfying because he's, you love him, you hate him, you love him, you hate him, but it's like, you don't kind of begrudge him. You're like, okay, all right.
He actually came out the hero at the end.
Yeah, like remember, I forget which episode it was, maybe season 4 or 5, where it's like the last time we see him, he's like, just on the Caribbean beach with the chick in the bikini
dancing.
Yeah, it's like if that was the last time we'd seen him, that would have been a great ending for him as well. But so like anything past that was great. Was just and they didn't kind of
hello,
shit the bed
Jack.
And
yeah, I had Gemini as my lowest in the middle, number 13, the Replicator one.
Yep.
Mainly because Carter was so stupidly written in that episode. Like, she got fooled by that Replicator so hard and so quick.
Yeah,
she fucked up so bad. I'm like, Carter doesn't do that. She's Carter.
Probably could have had a couple more passes. I think we spoke about it in the episode. It's like, does she know that she knows that she knows that she knows? And it's like, if that was a little more on the nose. Like if we knew that Carter was letting herself get fooled by Replicator, and that's why she was making the stupid decisions, we'd kind of be more on board, but they didn't kind of lay it out. It's like, we don't know if Carter was letting herself, like Carter knew she was what she was doing.
And in the end, Replicator ran away with it. And she was like, I'm sorry, Jack, I've stuffed up. And we're like, yeah, I know you did. You could see it coming from a mile away. Then I've got number 12, Covenant, Mr. Sheffield.
Yep.
0 Hour with the bunting and the plants.
Yep.
I think the reason I like that is because of Jack in general, his reaction to everything.
Yeah.
It just won't be the same. And
his monologue over the top with his writing his letter and stuff.
Yeah. And then I've got, I don't know why I had this so high actually, Lockdown. I think it's because I thought I liked it when I watched it because you thought that's when Anubis died and we tricked him really well. I like that twist at the end where he's on that ice planet.
Oh, the ice planet, yeah.
And number 9, you might be angry at me for this. I've got Citizen Joe at number 9.
Oh, wow.
Only because I'm thinking maybe when I first saw this, I didn't realize that guy was Homer. I didn't realize who it was.
I did get a lot of messages from people after the episode saying, you fucking ruined Citizen Joe for me by playing that audio of Joe crying being Homer.
And also, because it's a clip show, that's the reason.
Yeah, and they wait like 15 minutes to turn it into a clip show. Yeah.
Even though the clips were good for the purpose of the story, it's a clip show. For that reason, it can't be in my top 7. And then
it's still, I think, probably the best clip show.
It is definitely
out of all of them. Yeah.
It's definitely the best. Mitch, did you hear that? Beats politics.
Yes. that's a big call. touchy, especially at the moment. We don't want to talk politically, of course.
Right, Jingos. Yeah, God no. Number 8 for me is Lois and Teal'c, Affinity. I really just love how Teal'c gets out and about and mixes it up. Gangster rap, beanie, singlet, just so sick.
Yeah,
so sick.
Assaulting people with fruit.
I should not interfere. Yeah, you should beat his ass.
Your friendly neighborhood Jafar.
Yeah.
Getting around just low level crime in the area. Not even crime, it's more like felonies. It's just like basics of like misdemeanors.
Yeah, what up? Yeah,
Mr. Teal'c. Okay, so what is it? Number 13 down to 8.
Well, you've kind of given us 13 already. You it's kind of 13 and 14. So you could
do it again, mate.
12
because I forgot.
Yep. So my number 13 is Endgame. It just got the tick over lockdown for the bottom of my middle section because I guess it was further in the story and felt like a newish sort of episode opposed to lockdown, which felt like a little bit like something we've tread on before. So Endgame at 13. Number 12, Covenant, Mr. Sheffield. Fun episode, especially, us growing up in the 90s, watching him on the nanny. But, it's like, it is what it is. It's a self-contained episode. It's fun. But, I always like seeing what the world of Stargate looks like to other people outside. And while it was told from our point of view and SG-1's point of view, we did get a little bit of a look in what, how that situation could be taken advantage of by people in power or people with money and then within the media and all that sort of stuff. So, and the idea that they show him things to try and keep him quiet is always interesting about the world building. Number 11, Affinity. That's the Lois Lane one, right? Yeah, that's fun.
Jinx.
I love that one as well. It's good fun. Number 10, Avatar.
Jinx.
I think both of them really stand out my memories as good, fun Teal'c episodes, but there was just something about watching Avatar for the first time when it did come out, whatever age I would have been, like late teens or something, and me and Lincoln just sitting there just watching a video game in live action starring Teal'c.
Yeah.
It was like,
how much did you want an SG-1 game after that episode?
I still
Where's the game? Yeah, where is it? Still haven't happened.
Well, and then when the DVDs came out for this season, there was the trailers for the Stargate game that never eventuated.
Yes.
So yeah, there was just so much hype because you were just like, yeah, we're gonna get fucking Doom or Wolfenstein, but it's SG-1. Yeah. And
even if it was shitty, I still would have loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it had all of SG-1's voices and it had a new villain.
Yeah.
And all that would have been so good.
Yeah, it would have been so good.
Yeah, it would have been a good time, like you said, having the voices, and because the popular as the franchise was at that time, still low key enough that the talent were required to do the voices. Like if they were any bigger, you send in, Tom Hanks' brother.
Yeah. Well, I remember.
We're out. Sorry, Matty. Brendan and I are out, mate. We're done. Okay.
Yeah.
Put a fork in us.
We peaked.
Okay? Yeah.
I remember after Buffy wrapped, they decided they were going to do like an animated version of Buffy. And the entire cast signed on to voice their characters except Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, come on.
And I'm like, that's a dick move. And the cartoon never went anywhere. There was only like a little 3-minute sort of treatment. But it's like, oh, that's rough.
It's a bit like
the one person you need.
Gemini, number 9. Which one's Gemini? Oh, the Carter and Carter.
Replicator.
Mm-hmm. It's like, it's the best of replicators type thing. It's like, and like while she's poorly written, we had a lot to say on that in the podcast, like Brennan was saying before. Amanda Tapping is great. So seeing her play off herself.
Yeah, that actually, we probably did. I don't know if we said enough about that. I think she actually, the replicator was so convincing. I actually thought it was real, like another person there.
Yeah.
And the way they obviously shot it too, it wasn't just a simple like, oh, and blah, 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 and then poor acting, sort of off no one or off a double or something when she was listening to herself talk.
She had the screen to interact with, even though it would have felt a bit clunky waiting for the recording to say something, but you could actually see the two of them on the same shot and there's no CGI needed.
Yeah. And when you think back to like season 2 or 3, whenever it was, when there was like alternate Carter with the long hair and those, like both the production and Amanda Tapping have come a long way from that episode to this episode in terms of believing that it's not just a green split screen. Like they're two very distinct characters.
Yeah, that was cool.
And my top of the middle section might upset those in the room. I can't remember. I don't know if this has been mentioned yet, but Prometheus Unbound. I don't remember a lot about the episode.
Baby.
I don't remember a lot about it. But what I do remember is Vala. And you know me, I'm not a real big fan of Vala.
Yeah.
I know we said this is different to what she eventually, no, it's the same. They could have made it different if they would have known what she was going to become and what they had to stick with. But I just think, she annoyed me in the episode because she was supposed to be annoying. So, nothing against Claudia, right? She's excellent. I love her. But the character of Vala just annoys me. And so her presence in the episode just kind of annoys me a bit, even though it's an important ep and there's good stuff that happens in it. But yeah. Yeah,
I think that's fair. I think you're speaking on behalf of a lot of Stargate fans where Vala is a very polarizing character. And it's I don't think there's anyone that's kind of lukewarm on it. It's a love or hate scenario with Vala. So that makes it. I mean, even that Prometheus Unbound got that high is pretty good.
Thank you. I think I am lukewarm on her because I love Erin Sun so hard, and I love her. I loved seeing her in this episode, and I love Vala in this episode. I don't like Piggytail Vala.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is because I feel like they just went that extra 10% too hard with her trying to be funny. Because some of them I'm just sitting there going, can we get on with the storyline later on? But that's later.
That's it. We'll talk about that later.
And Aronson is badass. So bad.
Aronson's awesome. All right, we'll knock into our top 7. All right, so for me, starting in the number 7 position is Gemini. Then up, and I've got, I think depending on the day, these two are interchangeable for me. In my number 5 and number 6 position is I've got at the moment on my little sheet here, I've got in number 6 position Mobius parts 1 and 2, and in number 5 position Reckoning parts 1 and 2. But I think that they could flip depending on the day. I think.
Yeah.
In my number 4 position, I have Citizen Joe.
Oh, it's up there.
It's up there. I do. As I said, it's the best
clip show.
I was about to say flashback, and I was like, no, that's not the word I'm looking for. It's the best clip show of the entire franchise. So it's enjoyable. I enjoy it. It made me feel okay to cry at Daniel's death.
I actually, the more I watch it, like this time around, I really liked it more. but I always make this lists based on what I have always thought of in the past. If I'm going to watch season 8, this is what I'm watching first.
Oh, yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I typically do that, but I found every now and then there's a little surprise. Like I was doing up my list the other day for our Atlantis rank, and there was one episode that ended up going up quite high that it wasn't until this watch around that I actually learned to appreciate the episode. So every now and then, but yeah, typically I think about, when I'm pulling up my DVD case, which episodes do I want to watch? Which ones stand out when I read an episode title? I go, I want to watch that episode.
Yeah.
So my top 3 is in number 3, New Order parts 1 and 2. In number 2, Prometheus Unbound. And in my number 1 position, of course, it's Threads, but the extended cut. Has to be the extended cut.
And it wasn't movie length as we later discovered. It wasn't.
Well, yeah, we found out it was 6, even though my DVD case actually says on the back of it that it's 89 minutes or whatever. It's not. It's only 60 something minutes.
And we sent the fandom into a frenzy at that point.
Yeah, everyone's like, I've seen that, Maddie.
Yeah,
what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah,
There's literally extra 20 minutes on top of the extra 20 minutes. Oh
I'm looking at my DVD case now. It literally says special 84-minute episode.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's a typo. It was supposed to be
that was Cooper.
Probably 64 minutes.
No, it was Cooper for sure.
Oh, definitely.
It's just 20 minutes of him doing audio commentary in the dark.
Just him and fucking Martin Giro, just like making each other laugh.
What was I surprised about? Oh, Prometheus Unbound, number 3. That's pretty high.
Number 2.
Prometheus
Unbound was number 2 for me. I love Prometheus
Unbound. That was pretty high.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those ones.
Too. I do love it.
I remember being so upset when it was like showing on TV because like I'd been on IMDb and I knew the episode was coming and it's post Farscape. So I was like, oh my God, I'm getting some Claudia Black. She's going to be in Stargate. This is going to be amazing. And it never played on free to air. They skipped it. And so I had to wait until the DVDs came out. So it's like I was just dying for this episode. And when I finally got it, I'm just like, oh my God, this was so worth
see, I actually was so pleasantly surprised when she took the helmet off. I was like, what? Aaron's son?
And obviously that's a callback to like the pilot of Farscape where she does a very similar move where she's in like all black armor and all that kind of. I mean, the conceit there is obviously, you know, helmet on has a Cull Warrior body, helmet off, voluptuous lady body.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it?
In that wetsuit. But other than that, so good. And, you know, Daniel with his bit on the planet being Hans Olo with those 2 tentacle porn guys. Like,
yeah,
so good.
It's really good. And the funny thing is, Daniel's actually trying to get to Atlantis finally.
Yeah.
It gets foiled by Vala.
He was on his
of all
way.
people.
Yeah. And that great borderline homophobic scene where like Reynolds is just like, I've got to give Hammond mouth to mouth. No. It's like that push in.
He's just not into that.
He's just not into it. But just, like
Hammond's got bad breath. That's probably what it was.
Halitosis. It's
And no one talks about it because he's the general.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there's so much to love in that episode.
Oh, speaking of, I don't know if you guys heard about this. I'm trying to find there's some news that came out a couple of days or yesterday about Brad Wright's new series. So I want to read that out.
Should we wait until you guys have ranked while we do that? Or
I just thought I'd tease it now.
Yeah, nice.
So I don't forget about it. If you guys remember, basically that's all I want to do.
We'll do that before Mailbag.
All right, top 7 for me. Number 7, Avatar, The Matrix. I've always, like Mitch said, I had that huge hard on with the Avatar and The Matrix and Tilk, and also I like the fact that it's actually a throwback to Gamekeeper in the early seasons. They didn't really go into it in too much depth, but as a fan, it's a nice throwback. I think I like that.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, it's good to know that we did actually eventually get some of that tech and we're trying to put that to use. And
when you listen back to our earlier podcast, Rhys is always like, oh, they just go off world, get nothing and come home. At least, you know, so they did do some R&D stuff with some of the. We didn't see them bring back one of those pod chairs.
Yeah,
but
and it's like
they did.
It does, sort of make your imagination go wild because you're like, okay, did it take them 4 years to get one of those chairs? Like, did it take them years of negotiations and stuff to get that chair, or so it makes you think about all those interesting things that Stargate Origins. I think
that's what
on nothing of.
That's what turned me on about that the most.
Yeah.
Number 6, I have Prometheus Unbound.
Nice.
Number 5, It's Good to Be King.
I thought that might have been higher for you.
I did have it in my top 3, and then I just rewatched some trailers of a few episodes, and I'm like, they're just like quintessential Stargate of what, the crescendo of Stargate. Number 4, I have New Order, part 1 and 2.
Yep.
Daniel's dead. Number 3, I've got Threads.
Respectable.
2, Reckoning, part 1 and 2. And for me, can't go past any time travel. Mobius, part 1 and 2. I
thought that might be yours.
I love the Ra. They bring back Ra. They go to get ZPM. Even though I understand why people would hate it, because they don't like the Daniel and Carter alternates, and they don't like that they actually fuck their own timeline. But I always look past that. It's
and
not
that's
really
it.
Jack and Sam, but you kind of get a Jack and Sam moment anyway.
Yeah, when you really love an episode, you can look past its flaws to when you really connect with something. So that's. And I mean, you've been going on about Mobius for almost.
That's one I always remember for me when you go season 8. I'm like, oh, Mobius.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but that's
me too.
Yeah. And hey, my name is Carlos. And you made me so hot.
You can't not lose. Carlos.
Something for everybody. Something for everybody.
All right. Number 7 for me, Citizen Joe. Same deal with you guys. It's the best of the clip shows. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And like you said, they dupe us into thinking that it's not, and then it is. And by that stage, you're having too much fun with it because it's got nothing to do with SG-1 by that point. It's just, they almost come into it by accident. Number 6, 0 Hour. Number,
nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just like the Jack side of it. I don't know. I like really seeing a real different side of him and like a vulnerability to him, and especially when we start to not get a lot of Jack O'Neill or Richard Dean Anderson, obviously in this show. I like that they actually took some time out to go, well, no, he's not all just jokes and sarcasm. He's actually got a real, which we know he's got a serious side. He just doesn't take many things seriously. Number 5, It's Good to Be King. I remember we paid out the ending. The end fights with shit and all that sort of stuff. But I love that. I love Mayborn. He's a villain that you love to hate throughout the series, and by the end, he's not that much of a bad guy. And just the expanse and the world building and stuff, and the jumper, and a lot of really cool shit, mythology sort of shit in there. Number 4, I think Reckoning has dropped down. It's mostly, or if not all, 2-parters at this point, which I guess makes much sense because I haven't said any others. Reckoning, again, a lot of great Stargate sort of stuff going on all over the place, Gould, replicators, whatever. But it sort of almost falls into number 4 by default. Number 3, New Order. A lot of great stuff at the stuff. Yeah, a lot of great stuff at the start of
except for Sam on the farm with Fifth. Everything else is great.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'd actually forgotten that was in that one. Number 2 is, I know we had some issues with it as a part of a rewatch, which we said in our last episode of SG-1, but Mobius, I'm like Brendan, though, I'm a sucker for time travel, and this is like, it'd be top 3 episodes of Stargate. Whenever I think, I have that image of them walking away from the camera into the desert. Like, that is burnt into my brain from watching this 15 over more than years ago. And I love it. So we had a lot of
they're all fishing at the end as well.
Yeah, and I think
the finale.
The only reason I think Mobius is held to a higher standard is because it is the season finale and Jack's last episode as a regular. Yeah. So like if it was like and much I hate this term, but if it was like the mid-season finale, like 2-parter kind of thing, like just in the middle of the season somewhere, I think it would be up there with like Window of Opportunity as like one of the most beloved, just fun romp kind of stories. But because it just has that high expectation of being a finale, you always hold a finale to a higher standard. So I think that's why it's one of those sort of
So you reckon if they had, which one was the second last, Reckoning? They had
Reckoning and then
last.
Threads.
Then Threads, that's right.
Yeah, because
they should have been three-parter.
Yeah, Threads is the original episode where they're fishing at the end, where they go fishing at the end of Threads, and then Mobius comes in and they end up fishing at the end, but there's fish.
Yeah.
And then, we're talking about it, but obviously leaves Threads at the end. So Mobius for me was it would have been a perfect series finale for me in the way that it touches on so much of the franchise, of the Ghoul, the great stuff of SG-1, and all the way back to the film as well, while having a completely new time travel adventure. Threads was just... I don't know, like obviously the revelations and stuff that came a part of it, but everything you guys have said about it and went into it at length in the podcast, it was awesome.
What was the other name we gave Fat Nubis? There's no name we had.
Oh, I can't remember. But one thing about Threads, I still have only seen the regular cut. I haven't seen the extended because I couldn't find my DVD at the time when I watched it. So I only got to watch it on Stan, and Stan only had the 42-minute cut. So I love Threads, but I love it a little bit more because Maddie said that the extended cut's awesome. So I've got to go back and watch that.
Yeah, definitely. And you know me, I'm a sucker for anything Daniel. So like all that stuff of Daniel in the diner, I can just watch that on repeat. I love it so much. And obviously the big Anubis reveal, that Daniel's been talking to Anubis this whole time that's up there as far as like, one of those just like I remember seeing that for the first time and just my mind just exploding, just mouth just agape, just like holy.
What was his name in that diner? Anubis, the big fat guy, Bob or something? Big Bob. I can't remember.
No, there are people screaming at us right now, but I don't
know. Pepper Potts, was it?
Was it Joe? No, it could have been Joe.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Knew it.
Apple.
Goop.
Satchel.
The Coldplay guy's missus.
Jim. It was Jim.
Big Jim.
Jim Nubis. Big Jim. The guy that when he wasn't trying to take over the universe, he was helping Michelle Pfeiffer raise some underprivileged kids at school.
Oh, really?
Dangerous Minds?
That's the guy from Dangerous Minds. That was Michelle Pfeiffer's...
Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah. Oh. Send a white woman and she'll save the black kids.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. And the fact like that actually that was a cool movie. I really liked that because I was a kid and I didn't know any better. But then they made a Hilary Swank one too, and we're like, are we still pretending this?
Oh, really? I don't remember that one. Yeah, I just, as us just being like just a bunch of nerdy white kids and then hearing Coolio for the first time, we thought we were shit.
Yeah.
So we are so fucking urban. We are just
I remember listening to that shit when I was like,
kids?
9 when it was on. I was like, man, this song's talking about some real issues. Right, this must be what it's like to live on the streets and in the hood, man. And as soon as I learn what the hood is, I'll understand that reference I just made because I'm a 9-year-old white Australian living in a pretty comfortable life,
living in a kangaroo pouch.
Coming home from my co-ed Catholic school.
Yeah, I was going to say going to a Catholic school. You guys knew all about the pain.
So white.
Yeah. For many years after that, I wanted to be that kid that the kid that wins the prize and gets to go to dinner with Michelle Pfeiffer. And he looks at the menu and he goes, I'll have the chicken, a whole one. I always just wanted to do that. Just go to a restaurant and just order a whole chicken. Such a good movie.
And a Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
I like the taste. I would have had It's Good to Be King up there, but like I said, for me, Threads, Mobius, Reckoning, New Order.
Tough competition.
They're just undeniable.
Yeah.
And it's reached this point where we needed all those episodes combined.
Yeah.
Far out.
That's why it's so amazing when you think about season 8 being a season that includes all those episodes and then also includes Icon. You're just like, really?
Yeah, it's so weird.
And like Icon feels like a season 2 episode or something,
It's like they needed to save up so much money for these 5 episodes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even a bottle episode. Like they had to go, like they used so many like on location bits for that. Like it wasn't even a money saver.
Yeah.
They had to create all those sets.
Wasn't a lot of CGI though.
No.
That's where money. It used to be expensive doing CGI. Now it's cheaper to do.
Now it's
CGI.
cheaper, than doing practical effects. It's like, we don't need extras. We'll just put in some CGI extras in post.
And good too. Like I'm just looking at my top 4, and my top 4 are all the double episodes. The fact that we're in season 8 of a show, but a big sci-fi show like this that's already got a spin-off going, and that for me the 4 best episodes are double parters, which means that they aren't stretching out the story. Like none of them felt like they could have been one episode.
They seem to have broken the curse, haven't they? Remember how, back in the early seasons, whenever we had a 2-parter, we were always like, oh, the first part was good, but the second part was shit, or vice versa, because it did feel that way. Whereas none of those episodes, you feel like, oh, they were stretching it out to fill in numbers.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, with these top 4, you get all the good characters. You get Selmac, you get, all the good side characters, Braytak and Teal'c are finally getting to Dakara, which is the first time we hear of Dakara, which is a side note. But
we get rid of
Baal.
We get rid of Pete as well. You
get Baal, you get the replicator ending. Just everything into a nice, neat bow over that 6, 7, 8 episodes because of the 2-parters.
Yeah.
So good.
Really good. And now while we're on it, I'll run through Jacob's top 3. In number 3 position, he had Mobius. In number 2, he had Threads. And in number 1, he had Reckoning.
I'll tell you what episodes were ranked the lowest on IMDb.
Oh, do tell.
Oh, that's interesting. Covenant, Gemini, and Affinity with 7.5.
Interesting.
Equal third. Second last with 7.1 is Icon, which we said, and then 6.8, which is one of the lowest in all of Stargate. Sacrifice.
Yeah, people hate sacrifices.
Fat Jafar wedding. So if you had that order, then we don't disagree with you.
No.
But it was just actually Affinity, though. I'm surprised with Affinity, maybe because it was the whole trust thing. Everyone hates the trust.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I hate the trust, so I assume everyone does. Right? Isn't that the way the world works?
Well, it was a weird season because remember there was that weird thing where it's like they showed the episodes out of order. So it's like they mentioned the trust when they've already they're like, oh, it's this new thing called the trust. But then we heard about the trust the week, it was all out of order and weird. And maybe there was some overlap. Maybe there was some Smallville hate and people were just like, we don't want Smallville people on Stargate.
Incorrect.
Yeah. We want everybody. We want all Canadians in all sci-fi. Thank you very much. And
I want to think somewhere along the line that the 2 Winchester brothers, were some of those kids in the street in Affinity,
Top 3 on IMDb. So 8.5 is the third highest. Prometheus Unbound.
Nice.
8.8, there's a tie here between Threads and New Order.
Fair.
And number 1 on IMDb with a 9 is Reckoning Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, wow.
So that's cool.
That's pretty good.
I mean, I think this is one of the easiest seasons to rank.
Yeah, definitely. I had Reckoning down at 5 or 6. Only because I think if I think of Reckoning 1 and 2 and Threads as a whole, I can go back and watch Threads, but it's very rarely I'll go back and watch Reckoning 1 and 2.
The leader. Because you get the previously good. On.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh yeah, no, yeah, I remember that bit. Yep.
And cool, being the Daniel bitch that I am, he spends most of that episode just stuck to a wall with Replicator. He's got some good scenes.
Yeah.
But he's abducted in the first 10 minutes or whatever. And then I do love those scenes with him and Replicator and obviously
is he scared of that wall, Maddie?
Huh?
Full of replicator blocks? Daniel. Michael Shanks, was he scared of the wall?
Yeah, it looked too much like a spider. But yeah, and obviously having Oma back, even that was a fake Oma. It was so great to see Oma Dasala back, and then obviously, but then to get as much as we get of her in Threads, that's the big thing for me. Is it's the best we get of Oma. Like I said, even though she's in this subservient, waitress position, she still holds herself in a regal way. And you can
she's basically sacrificed herself fighting Anubis for all eternity.
For eternity, yeah.
Pretty hard. That's pretty friggin' sweet.
Yeah, until they
I feel like she would have more power
later
in
the series, but
Yeah, we won't go there.
We'll get to that.
So we do usually do a collective one, don't we?
We do, but there's only 3 of us. So will it be official? It won't really be an official one, will it?
Well, Rhys isn't here.
But no, Lincoln's not here. If Joz isn't here, I don't want to do the math on it. I never have. So that's up to you two if anyone wants to do the math on it, on what our collective top 3 are.
All right. So I have an article here by Nivea Serrato. Nivea writes, I don't know if it's a boy or girl. Could be both. Doesn't matter. Non-binary.
Hey, it's a cleaning product as far as I'm concerned.
God, yeah.
Nivea body. I love Nivea body.
It's a wanking mechanic in my house. Exclusive Stargate SG-1 creator Brad Wright on his pitch for a revival / hopes for the franchise. Not sure about that title, but anyway, we'll run with it.
Bit wordy. We'll go for it. Not
Stargate bad fans.
I mean, well written for Moisture.
He's done well for Moisture. Yeah, the blue bottle's done good.
Yeah.
All right. Stargate fans have been clamoring for a new series ever since the crew of Universe shut its doors. Was it the crew of Universe?
I'm glad. Well, the other option was Origin, so I'm glad Nivea bypassed that. That's good.
Yeah, good credit. Yeah, but Destiny, I would have said the crew of Destiny shut its doors, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And blasted off into space several years ago, especially since both Star Wars and Star Trek have had a massive resurgence in recent years. The former with the sequel trilogy and Mandalorian, blah 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 blah. Bit wordy again. I'm going to skip to the next paragraph. And while there is news about a potential franchise revival a while back, any recent plans appeared to have been put on hold with Amazon being having acquired MGM. However, Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis co-creator Brad Wright doesn't think fans should give up hope just yet, even if it means a long wait ahead. Long before there were multiple Star Treks, Scotty likes talking about Star Treks.
It's almost like Star Trek fans and Stargate fans overlap in some bizarre way.
I thought so. Back in the day, Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis were both on a Friday night at the same time. That's something that has become a bit of a big deal in science fiction television. Right, tells Sci-Fi Wire. Sci-Fi Wire.
Sci-Fi Wire.
Sci-Fi Wire. I can't imagine Amazon not doing something with the franchise or empowering MGM to do something with the franchise. All right, this is where it gets good. One potential pitch for an upcoming revival, which Wright has written a pilot for, would see the return of familiar faces from popular franchise, including Daniel Jackson, in brackets, Michael Shanks from Altered Carbon, Samantha Carter, Amanda Tapping from Travelers, and Jack O'Neill, Richard Dean Anderson.
Interesting.
Now, this is a quote from Brad. My goal was to create something that was new, that also honored the existing universe. I think we all like that. Something that lived up to the canon of SG-1, Atlantis, and Universe, and therefore included some of those characters. Bringing in the new guard, absolutely, but not at the expense of pre-existing characters who I think would still be very much on their game and still firing at all cylinders. He goes on to add, and of course, there would be a General Carter. Why wouldn't there be? Who else would run the whole shebang other than her?
Sick.
How cool That's great. That?
I mean, we all knew that.
Well, that would make sense. You think about, a colonel in the military as, talented and experienced as she is. It's like, if you caught up with these characters,
there would be ever anybody in the history of the world that would have as much experience as her.
Yeah, or be better qualified to lead whatever the new iteration of the SGC would be. Yeah. But just in the real world, it's like, well, if you catch up with like a full bird colonel 10 years later on, it's a pretty good chance that, she's going to be a general.
Definitely.
That'd be great. Well, there is. Yeah. And like, as of us recording this, I haven't actually watched it yet. But maybe last week or whatever it was, there was that sort of video thing where like Brad Wright, Amanda Tapping, Michael Shanks, and then a few others. It was like McKay and Keller from Atlantis. They got together and they like read a script that was written by like a bot, like one of those automated
Google AI.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they got together and kind of read that script. So I haven't watched it yet, but obviously that probably would have, given Brad a few more ideas as well, and obviously would have tested the waters in terms of what actors are willing to come back, and those that are kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of done.
And those that he doesn't want to come back.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I hear there's a feud between a few of the cast members.
Yeah, that's it. And then obviously, you know, other cast members are going to be out of their price range, like old Jason Momoa. He might come back for a favor, but they're probably not going to be able to afford his going rate.
True.
No, that's interesting. I like that.
What did I read about him the other week? I did screenshot it, and you know, it's worth a read.
Actually, the only other thing that we kind of spoke about earlier, and that he added in this, Brad says, Stargate was something that took place in the here and now, and it was us going into space with our idioms and idiosyncrasies and our points of view about the universe and the world in general. It was this secret that could be happening right now, to the point where in NORAD and Cheyenne Mountain, there was a broom closet that says Stargate Command. It's a part of our culture, our here and now, and that's what makes it different. And I can't agree more with that. It has to be 2022.
Yeah.
You know,
oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. I think the only thing that would potentially cause like a moment of pause for them in terms of how they're going to do is like, when SG-1 started, we were just a bunch of dumbass earthlings, you know, whereas by the time Stargate finishes, we have so much advanced tech. So there is an element of, okay,
there's
how much
another
of that
decade upon
tech?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, so what is the adversary going to be? Like in the same way, and we'll get to it next season in terms of, the polarizing villain that is the Ori, in terms of us already having a bunch of, advanced technology, but then having to, in a lot of ways, reset to zero. How do you do that with 10 years on top of all the tech that we had the last time we saw these people, and still make it grounded? So, but
I think they would have to still keep it a secret. The general populace.
Oh, definitely. But I just mean in terms of the technology that we have at our fingertips to fight any adversaries in this world.
Yeah.
What's the level of adversary we're going to have to come across that's going to make the stakes high enough, for us to enjoy it? But there's nobody better qualified to do it than Brad Wright. Full stop. There's absolutely nobody better. If anyone can do it, it's him.
There's two things that in my mind would be super awesome is if they called it Stargate Galaxies and they actually had a wormhole drive on a ship which went to alternate galaxies, or they found a source that they could go to different galaxies through the Stargate system and find just crazy aliens, something like Pegasus, where it wasn't an immediate threat to Earth. They could still keep their safe distance. And then also I read somewhere, I think it was fan fiction or a pitch of a video game, where the Furlings were actually kicked out of the Great Alliance of the 5 great races because they created the Goa'uld.
Oh.
Which that could be freaking cool.
And there are little things like that. Like obviously when you go back to one of my favorite episodes with the first ones where, we're back to that primordial planet where there's Goa'uld symbiotes that have no naquadah in their body. And you learn, and it's like, okay, so at what point, how did symbiotes get naquadah? Like the assumption is on that planet, symbiotes took over some Unas.
Yeah.
But at what point, how did they, So yeah, there's definitely things like that we could definitely learn about. Obviously, my first thing is to say, well, Star Trek, made Discovery, where they made the mistake of making it a prequel and trying to fill in gaps in the history, and that kind of was depending who you talk to, was an unmitigated disaster, or some people love it. But so yeah, I think as Brad has said, it's got to be set in the current day, but it could be good exploring that past from the current day. That's what Stargate's great at.
Yes. Yeah, and they can either start the pilot of announcing the Stargate program to the world, or I always thought they could find another Heliopolis without even saying, oh, remember SG-1 found it. It's just like that's the salute to the fans. Is you see the same similar prop, it has the same CGI effect.
Yeah,
but it's like the furling. They bring Daniel Jackson in for a few episodes because they can't figure out the writing or whatever.
Yeah,
Tiny
or
writing.
even just the idea of like revisiting planets. It's something they don't do. I mean, obviously, there's a whole galaxy full of planets. Like I know they go back to a particular ally all the time or something, but like what's to say that 10 15 years down in the future there's something that happens, it's like, oh, we need to go back to that planet that we're at in season 2 of Stargate SG-1, and that's why you might bring in Daniel, because he's the only one that could possibly negotiate with these people, because we're in our infancy about traveling out throughout the galaxy and stuff, but this, your day-to-day life, there's something you'll think about that you've kept in the garage for 15 years, and all of a sudden you'll need to know it, or there's, you need to call up someone that you used to know because of something you do in your current life. So, why not magnify that to a galactical sort of scale and revisit some old planets again,
okay,
even the mundane ones.
Here's my pitch. How would this go with everybody if you find out that predatory date rapist chick from 100 Days actually did get pregnant with Jack's baby, and that kid's like 21, 22 now or something like that, and comes to Earth looking to find dad, and then ends up joining an SG team, and that's one of the new characters.
And he has to compete. He has to compete with the Asgard clone of O'Neill.
And his name's Jack Snow.
Yeah, Jack's the bastard.
Yeah, and then you got Cloneel. And then who else have we got in there? Ryak's probably aged out at this point, so
I thought you were going to say in the episode Need, where Daniel Jackson gets
with the tree,
to the sarcophagus,
tree girl. Yeah,
and that tree girl is pregnant with Daniel's kid.
It could be a whole like Next Generation, and then maybe remember the super
SG
smart
Daniel. It's just all of Daniel's spawn.
Remember the super smart Smurf kids? Remember that planet where the kids had the nanites in them and they wore those white Smurf hats, and there was that chick that he took painting. I wonder what age wasn't she like didn't she grow up and become like Stargirl or whatever it was, that actress?
Yeah, she did actually in Smallville.
Yeah. You bring her back.
I mean, these are all nice, but I think they could get better caliber actors. And I don't mean
if you're dealing with Prime money, they
can't be like those moody kind of Stargate universe soapy stuff, or Star Trek Discovery, where they're all
CW.
Like, oh my god, and you're like, really? They don't speak like that in the year 3000 or whatever.
That's the thing. Like, you think about SG-1 just on its own as a show, and even SGA, I've only seen one season, but there is no character that feels like they belong in a different show. It just suits. And you're right. You pick out like people that are talking very modern for us in a show set hundreds of years in the future. And it's like, well, day to day, you're going to meet with people that do speak differently. It's like, but that's normal for our world. Whereas in these shows, everyone's different, but they're all kind of the same. And then you introduce someone like that, and it's like, I hate nothing more than when you watch a movie and an actor or their performance, their character feels like they're in a different film.
For me, the Discovery crew are one step away from like ordering their drinks out of the replicator and they come out in fucking mason jars and they're just drinking out of mason.
Yeah, totally. It's like the woke version of the alternate Star Trek.
Oh, it's not even that. That's just that sort of trendy hipster.
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
what I mean. That's what wokeism is to me. Like the extreme left wokes, not the initial woke, where you're actually just like a good person. Like the extreme left woke. It's like, oh my god, we need a gay guy. We need a redhead girl.
Yeah, the tokenism when it becomes tokenism. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the.
Did you have something?
I'm not offended, but I'm offended on behalf of the people that should be offended. Like, I'm just offended on behalf of other people. It's like, no, you're the worst kind of humanity, I think.
Yeah, that's so gross.
Yeah. Did you have something you wanted to read, Mitch?
I screen grabbed this. Screen grabbed this tweet a few weeks ago about Momoa, and I thought I'm just going to hang. I thought maybe I had sent it on, but obviously not. So while we are talking about, right, what's it, Dex? Right? Is that his Ronan Dex?
Dex, yeah.
Ronan
Oh
Dex.
man, Nailed it for someone who's never seen him.
Fucking treat.
Thank you very much. I hope that's a good treat, and that's not sarcasm. So
no, one of the best. Excellent. One of the best characters.
He's up there with he's top 3 of Atlantis for me.
All right, let's do it. Top 2. I was about to ask how early do I see him in season 2. Don't answer that. I want to find out. The tweet reads: Jason Momoa rules because most of his roles are just like, what if there was a dude who was fucking rad as hell, and you don't really need range when you do that better than anyone.
Pretty much.
It's I haven't seen like all of his films, but everything you watch him in, I'm like, I could never look like he kind of. If he was a guy I saw on the streets, like just sort of like these weird tats, and he's got like the weird hair that doesn't really know what it wants to be, and dresses the way that he dresses or something, and talks to it, I'm like, oh, who are you? But because I don't know, there's just something about him, and I'm like, oh man, you are cool. You are really fucking cool. And every role he does,
dude is the perfect vernacular for. Yeah, it's like if you said, okay, Game of Thrones, who's the raddest dude in that show? You'd be like Khal Drogo, obviously.
Yeah.
The midget.
Like, there's great character. Yeah, but he's fucking awesome, but he's not a rad dude.
Yeah, why didn't they hang out together? They
could have.
Man, imagine them having a drinking session talking about women, like early Tyrion.
Yeah, that would have been good
because he was he was much more of a prick in those first few seasons, like a likable prick, but still he was more of his family back then. So him and his way of talking about people meet Momoa and his like archaic way of treating other people.
Yeah.
And oh man,
Tyrion's like, I drink and I know things. Drogo's like, I drink and I kill things.
And I fuck things.
Or he's like, I rape and I kill things.
I kill and I fuck things.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Oh, actually, the end of this article, which is basically with what we just said, Brad Wright says, I think the trick to anything would be that it's high time the world found out about the Stargate program, for better or worse, keeping all of that technology from the world at a time where we could really use it, like the pandemic, etc. The secret needs to get out. And then
if you see how it compares to, like, you know, when you look at like episodes like 2010 with the Ashen, where like, the Stargate program is public. We've got friggin' teleporters popping around. So it's like, okay, how much of that do they do and still keep it feel real worldy?
But they couldn't do, obviously they couldn't do teleporters and shit because the government wouldn't give out all the technology.
No.
You know what I mean?
But like, it's
we have Google Maps. Imagine what they've got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It would be cool to make, like, maybe you wouldn't see like Asgard beaming technology like in an airport, but you might see a set of rings or something like that, which I think
that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah.
They got to bring rings back, bro.
Yeah. Rings
like
are
the beaming tech. That's Star Trek. I like Star Trek, but just stick to Stargate.
Yeah, exactly.
We like the rings.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
Oh, it's time to something about the Get Into Geek. Harry Mailbag.
Doesn't work on Zoom. Can't get in sync.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, that, and I don't remember the song. I'm trying to.
Time for the Get Into Geek. Harry Mailbag.
Mailbag. There it is.
Bag.
Annually. I got a tweet. Actually,
these are letters. They've went from being a mailbag for the Stargate podcast into letters to Santa.
I think next season we're gonna start Mailbag weekly again.
Yeah, I think
it's so much. I got a tweet direct message on Twitter from the computer guy. He says, hoping you're only taking a short hiatus, please come back soon. I said, yeah, we are. He said, I look forward to your return, even though I think Emancipation is the worst episode of the entire franchise, and that's counting Stargate Origins, Catherine, and Stargate.
Go.
I have an idea. Wait, listen. I have an idea. We call it Stargate Origins. Guess. Wait. Catherine. What? Yeah, Oh, that's a banger, right? Catherine. No thanks.
Pass. A pivotal character that we weren't actually showed you anything pivotal.
We saw all the stuff that we needed to see from her.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go there.
Yeah. Well, here's one for you guys, I suppose, because obviously the Emancipation argument is never going to die, but Emancipation or Icon?
There's no argument. It's shit.
Yeah, but gun to your head, you've got to watch one, Emancipation or Icon. You can't
just shoot me.
Really?
Yeah,
you take the bullet.
And I didn't even remember
the trigger,
Icon.
baby.
Really, you can't even like at this point for me, like it would be like, you know, when you ironically watch The Room. Like I feel like that's where you guys should be with Emancipation. Like you watch it to laugh at it.
I'd much rather, like, if we had to do a podcast on it, I'd rather do Emancipation again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you know, we decided we'd do like a DVD commentary, I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to shit on.
It's fun.
Whereas if I want to go to sleep, I'll put Icon on.
Well, yeah. It's like Emancipation is cringy bad, but Icon is just bad. We've got a Patreon message from Nicole Rye. She says, I think I'm going through withdrawals. I always listen to you guys to and from work in the car. I just drove over 3,000 miles. That's about 4,828 kilometers. Thanks, conversion.com. From the west coast of the US to my great people. From the west coast of the US to my new home on the east coast. What an amazing opportunity. What an amazing opportunity to binge some Get Into Geek, right? But no, my husband, who dislikes all things sci-fi, refused to allow me to put it on. First of all, refused? Honey, you're your own woman. You don't let a man tell you what to do. Second of all, of course, Get Into Geek. Come on now. She does say it's potential.
Called AirPods, baby.
Oh, that is very passive aggressive. Imagine like driving like 3,000 miles with AirPods in, just not talking.
You both have AirPods in. I would enjoy that.
Marriage, baby.
The married man.
She said, I've made him listen to some of your poo and dick chat, which he's chuckled at, but he still hasn't come to his senses. We went down to one car for the big move and I've yet to get another. So we're riding to and from work together, which means I'm still trapped in this Get Into Gatelessness hell. Anyways, I think you guys are amazing and I can't wait to be able to catch up on the eps I've missed. Keep up the brilliant work. Love, Nicole.
Well, for anyone wondering why we went on such a hiatus, there you go. It was all because of Nicole. We knew she made contact some time ago saying, I don't have time to listen at the moment. I can't. And well, we're not releasing a fresh podcast. So
until Nicole's husband comes around. So send your hate email to Nicole's husband at hotmail.com. And once he gets on board, then we'll get back into it.
Yeah. Also send nudes.
Yeah.
I just had to say that because that's Rhys's line.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's probably been cut out in every other podcast, but Rhys says send nudes.
Probably. I saw a great TikTok the other day, and it's someone that's like they've wiped away like a message written in rocks or whatever. And it's played backwards, and you think it's going to say send nudes, but then as it sort of goes back, it actually says send nuggets, and then it spins around, and he's dressed in a chicken suit, and I'm like, that's brilliant. I love that.
Actually, I'd prefer nuggets.
Yeah.
There's a comment on one of our YouTube videos for episode 125, Smoke and Mirrors by Seal. And I forget that episode about what goes on in there, but they've made a comment, I guess, to have a bit of fun with our political chat or non-political chat from before, and who we do or do not maybe pay out occasionally. Who knows? Still says, for some reason, Kinsey being USA president doesn't seem as horrible as it used to. So, look, whether you think that's anti-Trump or anti-Biden, if those are your only two options at the moment, you're right. It doesn't matter who you think it is. That's the correct answer. So,
we hate all politicians in Australia.
Yeah,
I think that's fair to say. Like, I don't like to talk on behalf of people, but generally, Australians hate politicians.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
Yeah,
Is that fair?
Definitely.
Well, to the point where I sort of look around, I know Brendan and I have got a mutual really good friend who loves his politics and would grow up to be a politician, but he's the only one that we know that would do that, like by a long way.
But he still hates politicians.
He absolutely does.
It's a very different concept for us too. And a few Americans that I've spoken to have no idea that for us here, voting is mandatory. Like if you don't vote, you get fined. Like we have to go. So for us, that's part of it. That's part of why we hate, because you've got to spend a couple of hours on your Saturday going to your fucking local high school or primary school or whatever and voting. So it's like, these fucking politicians making us waste our fucking weekend. We got to go and fucking, that's part of Australian life. That's what we do.
Yeah, it's mandatory and it's on a Saturday. And also the other thing that's different is the parties choose the leader. We have nothing to do with it. And they're only allowed 30 days to campaign.
Yeah, not 2 years.
Not 2 years.
Hundreds of millions of dollars put into it.
I mean, that is so much better because you can see through the bullshit immediately. But I mean, you have two choices. What are you going to do? Vote the Greens.
Yeah. And look, the voting side of thing, it's not so bad because we get some barbecue. They're cooking barbecue down wherever you go, and they've given it a great name. It's if you go down there and get a sausage, you get a democracy sausage, is what they call it. And I think anything that's called a democracy,
that's freedom. That's a freedom meat.
You can have my democracy sausage.
A D sausage.
Big D. The big D. Sausage. Get it into you.
God, yeah.
We've got I want to say maybe a Facebook message here from Ben Isaac. And he says, "Hey guys, I'm an avid listener and wanted to say a huge thank you for the podcast. I'm a registered nurse working in ICU. So working through COVID has been challenging to say the least. But one of the things to keep me going is listening to your podcast and repeating it for the 6th or 7th time. That's more than I've listened to our podcast. And laughing like a crazy person, especially when I'm on the train and there's only one other person staring at me. I just finished listening to Mobius episode, and after laughing my little gay ass off at "Hello, my name is Carlos, your name is Sahat," I remembered that in episode 9 of season 2, Secrets, when Teal'c is wearing the Horus Guard armor, they CGI'd his helmet, referencing we couldn't remember if we'd seen a CGI'd Horus helmet or not. Says, anyway, thanks again for the laughs and hope you guys are staying safe. That's great. I totally forgot about that. I'm going to go back and watch that.
No, I remember that. Weren't we talking about if it was a serpent CGI one?
No, because serpent's never been CGI'd. A serpent,
that's
you only ever get.
That's what I thought we were talking about.
No, we were talking about. I thought Mobius was the only time you actually see a serpent helmet activate, like go from Jafar head and all the way up. Even though you see closed Horus helmets quite a bit. So yeah, I have to go back and watch Secrets because that's when Daniel's like hiding in the cave with pregnant Sharae and stuff. So yeah, Teal'c definitely puts on a helmet there. So yeah, I have to go back and check that out. And that's when old mate Goodfather's in that one too. Bunny way.
Bunny way.
Bunny way.
Not gonna. The other thing is, we had a comment here from our last Stargate Atlantis chat, I think it was, where the Siege Part 2.
We're
talking about the Wraith. I had the question of if the Wraith were in the solar system, why didn't they attack sooner? Or if they were 8 hours away from Puddle Jumper.
Oh yeah, because there's that whole talk about why they McKay had to have time to get back in the Puddle Jumper.
2 or 3 days. Yeah.
15 hours or whatever it was.
It was a long time.
Yeah, and then the Wraith just sat there the whole time. After the satellite blew up one of the Wraith ships, they kind of just sat there, and that conveniently gave McKay time to travel all the way back to Atlantis and do the shit that he needed to do.
And get build nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
We got a comment here on our SoundCloud account on that episode from J Press 245. Guys, it takes so long for the Wraith ships to get to places because they have to stop every so often to regenerate due to being organically based tech, and they just happen to stop right next to the satellite, which I think, that makes us a great point.
I believe that. I also believe that is using information from episodes that Mitch hasn't seen yet. Like, that's not something that, Mitch, you'd probably be better to speak to that. Have you ever heard, anyone talk about Wraith organic based tech being the reason they have to? Yeah.
No, here I was thinking, it's probably a detail that I just skipped over, but no, I can. If you're thinking I shouldn't have,
that's true.
I definitely haven't.
Yeah. So totally makes sense, but just it's not something that's been established in the universe yet, like in Atlantis. So, but totally.
But I still feel
totally
like
agree.
they could have sent the darts.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Well, it's. I mean, we kind of rewrote those like last 3 or 4 episodes to make more sense in terms of like when the Wraith should have been on the base and when Taylor should have been able to sense them and all that kind of stuff. It was all kind of jumbled around. And we kind of sort of fixed it all up in the way that it should have been.
Yeah, I agree.
Make a bit more sense.
This is one, I guess, Rhys should be reading, but we will find out why at the end. It's from Debbie and Kyle. Send us in through Instagram at Get Into Geek. Hello, guys. I recently discovered your podcast. I'm a huge fan of all things Stargate and sci-fi in general. Also, a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Hello, Maddie.
Oh, yeah.
One of the true believers.
Saw a Rings Monopoly today. $60.
Shit, yeah. Worth every cent. I discovered SG-1 at the Blockbuster video store, RIP, in 1997. Before DVD, it was VHS video back then. Hell yes, it was. Wow. And big shout out to the old VHS tapes. And
that must have been the movie, yeah? Because I don't think SG-1 ever was available on VHS. It must have been the OG movie. That was how I first saw Stargate. I remember it at one of my like mum's friends' houses. There was a girl the same age as me, and she had Stargate on VHS, and we watched it, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah, we should talk to one of our local cinemas that we've had dealings with in the past. Oh, yeah, those cult movies that you like to play. Chuck on to fucking Stargate up there.
Oh,
how good would that be to see on the big screen?
Yeah,
just Spader and Russell just tearing it up a new one.
And we'll do an Instagram stories or something.
Absolutely. She thought she'd give it a go when she saw the VHS. Love the movie. I've been hooked ever since. I've met Chris Judge and Michael Shanks a couple of times. Nice. I just wanted to send a message to say that I love the podcast. I listen to it while at work. It gets me through the day while delivering the mail. So thank you, Debbie from Scotland.
Hey, Shrek farty donkey.
I'd forgotten about that.
Speaking of, there's my picture of me and old Christy Judge.
God, he dresses well.
Murray, that's you and Murray.
Yeah, sorry, me and Murray.
That's
me and
full
Murray.
Muzz.
Yeah, full Muzz.
And meanwhile, he's wearing a singlet that looks like he might have been at a recent rally in the States. Taking back some freedom.
I don't know if he's stooping or not, but he seems maybe he's shrunk in his old age, but I'm the shortest one of our group. And he's like,
you're not short. You're not a short man either.
No, I'm like 6 foot tall, but you guys are all fucking basketball players.
Oh God, yeah, we're Adonises.
I'm just talking height, mate. Relax.
No.
You guys are all like over 6'2", 6'3", and yeah, you see Chris Judge on TV and you think he's gonna be like a 7 foot tall fucking monster. But yeah, he's either stooping in that photo or he's just old Murray shrinking with old age.
Oh, the camera adds 10 pounds. Adds 10 inches. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, because I've had the pleasure of meeting the big man as well, and I can't remember about his size. I think it was his presence that got me. He could have been 4 foot tall. I wouldn't have known.
He would have just said, "Can you stop touching my penis, Mitch?"
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I can't. I won't. Christopher, I will not.
You're gonna have to call security, mate, because I'm not coming that this bad boy.
You have to rip me away from that dick. And the big fella, he's coming back for more God of War too. I think since our last podcast, there's been a trailer about that, and that looks pretty great.
If they cast Momoa as God of War, I'm not watching that shit. They can fuck off.
They keep talking about that, don't they? Yeah, they're like, "Oh, it's Momoa all over," and everyone else is standing up going, "No, it was the original Ronan." When we say Ronan, we mean Teal'c. Get that big guy in there right now.
He needs to be in the movie. He looks identical to what's his name? I was going to say Cronus. It's not Cronus.
Kratos? Is that it?
Kratos.
God damn it! I haven't even played the game.
Me neither. I've got no reference. I saw the trailer for that Tom Holland Mark Wahlberg movie that's based on a video game.
Actually, Uncharted. I still haven't even seen the trailer for that.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that movie was out.
It's not out
tell you
yet,
what, you can get God of War
out.
for $20.
I own it. Don't worry, I own it. I've owned it for. I think I bought it at the beginning of the year. I picked it up for $18.
Look, unless it's available,
brand new copy for $18.
Unless it's available on Nintendo Switch, I don't have the right platform to play it.
Well, it sure isn't.
Remember, I was playing that when we did our Serpent's Venom podcast.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, it's joined a long list of games that I own that I bought really cheaply and have never even opened, let alone played. And there's been sequels since and sequels to come.
And you got a PS5 now?
I do.
Have you opened that?
God, I have. It did take me a couple of weeks, but I did open it. And
what have you watched a movie on it? Is that about it?
I probably
did you get the discless one?
No, I got the disc one because I figured I've got older games that I can put in, and also I got plenty of Blu-rays, so it can serve as a player if need be. But I'm currently in I guess what you would call the theater room, and it's the PS5 and my brand new TV for my new house. I've been only here 4 months, and I had a friend of mine at work today say, "How's your new TV?" Because it's far bigger than my other big one. When I got a new house, I wanted to buy a big TV so I can watch Stargate, watch all my favorite stuff on there. And honestly, I've hardly used the thing. Like it's so annoying because we got a new couch out in the living area, and there are old TVs out there, and the couch is really comfortable. So whenever Sarah and I watch TV, we watch it out there because she likes that couch better than in the movie room. So I'm like, okay, cool. That whole big TV that I've been dreaming about for like 10 years, and it's just sitting there on the wall going to waste. And
you should have seen it, Brendan. I went around there, and the TV had only been up for like a couple of days, and he walks in, and we're about to watch something, and there's just like the kids have just like been throwing stuff at the TV, and there's like just marks and shit all over the TV.
It still looks like there's gummy bear marks. The
closest I've ever seen to Mitch like actually blowing up.
Yeah, I had to remain calm.
He goes silent. It's scary. Mitch just goes silent.
Yeah,
like, you okay?
It was like these fucking curds, and then it was just like.
Yeah, I actually got that last week.
Serial killer mode.
Yeah, it'd be good. I've always theorized that I'll become like me, myself, and Irene. I'll just eventually the other side of me that I've been
schizophrenia with the
suppressing. Yeah.
All right. How's everyone's bags feeling? Are we empty? Are we empty enough anyway? Empty-ish.
I just stood up and I don't know, I feel a bit lighter. So
a little bit lighter. Yeah,
I'm feeling good.
I mean,
there's no pain.
I could go for another one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy.
Yeah, there's no pain.
Rank next week and the emptying of the mailbag.
Yeah,
it would be fun to see because I think we all, it's good to feel that way after you've had the rank, because I think before the rank and especially during the rank, you think you're good to go straight away and have a double rank.
Well, during rank, you're like, oh, well, I got this. I can go all night. I can go all night here.
Yeah. And then you don't.
Give me
like,
20 minutes.
I couldn't do a second one. That's the thing. We might be back in 20 minutes. That's it. Just keep refreshing and we might be back.
That's it.
But if we're not, then we'll be back in a reasonable amount of time for Get Into Gate. Certainly not the hiatus we've just had. It's certainly the longest we've been inactive since we started the podcast back in July 2016, because that's happened. We've had a lot of shit going the last 10 weeks. Everyone's had a lot of shit going. We've had a lot of shit on. That shit ain't happening. So we will be back very soon with our another rank, the SGA rank, which I'm going to need to really sit down and do a little bit of research for, because at least with SG-1, we started watching this season at the beginning of 2020. I can remember that. I've seen SG-1 season 8 before. SGA, this is the first timer for me. I've been watching it now 18 months. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the most recent ones because I've seen them recently. I think I'm going to forget a lot of those middle ones. I remember the pilot and I remember the end and something about a storm and an eye in the middle, and that's about it.
Just for my OCD, we all hate Icon the most this season.
Yeah.
The Daniel does nothing episode with the
whack that down. Write that down. So it'd be interesting to see next week, because I'm going to go in. It's somewhat blind, I guess, next week, because I get a feel for SG-1 now about how we're all going to relate to certain episodes, and for the most part, we're very, very similar. And SGA, I don't know what you guys are going to be like, because you guys love the show for everything, for all 5 seasons. I can only possibly love it for one. So we'll see how.
Season 1's the worst. So Maddie, it's
of Atlantis. 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are harder for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I've enjoyed, but it's new Stargate content for me. So like I'm a very spoilt fan at the moment, because like we just talked about the Brad Wright situation, and for most Stargate fans in the world have been waiting for new Stargate content for the better part of a decade. And here I am. I've got 7 seasons of new Stargate content in front, or now 6 in front of me. Like, that's so unfair.
Yeah.
I feel like my kids now that are like got all the Star Wars movies that I had to wait for, all the Marvel movies that I had to wait for, like everything that I grew up waiting to watch, my kids have just got endless amounts of content literally at the click of a button in front of them. Like it's so unfair. And that's what I am for Stargate.
Well, yeah, and for me, season 2 and 3 of Atlantis, that's peak Atlantis. For me, that's
yeah.
For me, it's like 1, 2, 3 is like when you're heading up the roller coaster, and then sort of into season 3, into season 4 for me is when you start getting over that roller coaster, and then it
definitely gets a bit slower, but the highlights are still high for me. That's what.
Oh yeah, there's some 4 and 5 has some great peaks.
Yeah,
but for me, there's more valleys than peaks in 4 and 5, but 2 and 3, mint. Was it fucking mint? Whatever that thing is.
And hopefully some Ronan decks very soon, because I'm sick of waiting for Momoa. I feel like I've been waiting for Momoa and SGA for 16 years. And it was my own fault. I've had the boxes sitting in my garage for that long, and I've went,
cling wrap.
Not yet. Yeah, exactly.
Wrapped in plastic.
Plastic. Oh, do it. All right, that's episode 188 of Get Into Gate. Good to be back, boys. And we'll be back to do that whole SGA rank next week. A little bit more mailbag as well. So shoot us in some fresh notes, some questions, feedback. Anything you want to talk to us about, getintogate@gmail.com. Hit us up on the socials. Just search Get Into Gate, a Stargate podcast, and feature in the mailbag.
Maybe if we can't empty the mailbag next week, we might even look at maybe doing like another mailbag special.
Well, that's been a while. That's been way longer than any hiatus we've ever taken. Is a dedicated mailbag special.
I think it might be time.
God, yeah.
Yes. Oof. If only to make me wait for Momoa and SGA just that week.
You know what I've just realized? I'm not going to give you any spoilers about Momoa, but the first person to write an episode with Momoa in it was Robert C. Cooper.
Yeah.
That hurts.
The only way is up, baby. That's fine. That's fine by me. That's fine by me.
Oh, that's
the worst thing would have been him writing the second one, because then we get him in maybe his glory, and then Cooper comes in and no, I'm going to fix this. And it's like,
no, I'm pretty sure it's Giro, so it's fine.
Okay. It's a confusing time for me as a new fan, is what we're trying to say. All right. Otherwise, catch you back next week. I'm Mitch_Lewis. If you want to do anything with that online, if you don't, who cares? Follow the show. That's more important. You two boys, what do you want to plug? Anything? What do you got going on?
Yeah, I want to plug. Jump on our Get Into Gate YouTube channel, please. That's a great place to get the just the podcast. I'm thinking about doing a Rumble. Anyone heard of Rumble?
What's that?
It's like I don't know. It's new. It's kind of like a competitor of YouTube, but it's kind of like a swipe left, swipe right thing.
Oh.
I haven't got the hang of it yet, but
Rumble meets Tinder.
Great.
Look, so what you're saying is buy
YouTube
stock
meets Tinder
now, buy big, buy large.
Yeah.
And let's just retire on Rumble money.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they give you money if you rumble. I don't know what that means yet, but
we rank. We're only a step away from rumbling.
We can rumble.
Yeah.
That's our pitch.
We can rumble.
Why should you be on Rumble? Well, we rank, we rumble. God damn it, sons of bitches, sign the contract.
God damn it, that's hot. That's hot.
Son of a bitch.
So YouTube,
you know me. I hate to quote Rick and Morty, but son of a bitch, I'm in.
So just type in Get Into Gate. Just type Stargate Podcast on YouTube and then click Get Into Gate, because that's for the algorithm.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
see what it did? Don't know how the algorithm works, but I can only assume that's a good thing.
40 minutes of exercise a week. That's all I need.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't had it now for 4 years, and my body's starting to go, you know what? We're actually done waiting. We're just going to let loose everything we've been holding back. And I hate myself at the moment is the long and short of it. So one of the other parents is, fuck it now. I'm like, I'd love to give up all this shit food that I'm eating, but I just don't want to. I want to keep eating. I want to keep drinking, and I somehow want to get skinnier than what I am. But and I'm also getting older, so
it's going to get harder.
But at least I'm crap in bed. So I've got bad teeth, but at least I'm crap in bed.
I got a small dick, but at least it's moldy.
We don't use that enough. People do not use that enough. That double negative, but at least it's even worse than the first example.
Did you turn your desk around, Maddie?
Yeah, I'm getting my my carpet ripped up at the end of the month, so I've got to pack all this shit up. So it's all like,
damn,
it's all like half packed up at the moment. So yeah, all that.
Because I'm expecting a serial killer to come through that door.
Yeah,
you're like behind you, and you're like your headphones are broken.
Yeah,
no,
can't hear us.
that's when you guys are going to get to experience my rape fantasy. It's already set up.
That's the thing. We just let it go for like 12 minutes.
Yeah,
we're like this is all part of it. Yeah.
What do you think Mitch is getting that Michael Myers mask for, mate? That's what it's all. That's then, my Christmas present.
Yeah, then I'll definitely chuck it up on Patreon. This link.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, Maddie getting ranked for real live.
Yeah,
listen to Patreon.
Oh, look at their subscriber numbers. They are shooting up.
Old Scotty Flashheart started an OnlyFans where it's him reading like naughty stories with his like sexy voice, but then he also ended up putting up like audio of him fucking dudes. Just the audio. Wow. He's like you'll never see the vision, but he says I'll happily put the audio up.
Wow,
that is hectic.
Yeah.
Like, more power to you, mate. Go for it.
Him fucking dude.
Just railing.
I think he had a live show. Didn't I see he had a live show?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't subscribe to that, sadly. I mean, if I was going to do it to anyone, Scotty, it'd be you. But
I don't think it was a live sex show, Mitch. It was a live podcast.
No, he just did some stand up. Yeah, he did like a stand up show.
Yeah, like a monologue.
Yeah,
so definitely not subscribing then.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see.
If it's no sex,
it wasn't filmed. It was the only way you could see it was to actually go to the actual place.
Yeah,
in London and watch it live.
He must have a big following then.
He's got a very big
following. I don't think you were to say following.
Does he? Like, what are we talking? 600?
Oh, 800.
Talking gate numbers?
I'm talking 800, 900, I reckon.
Get Into Geek.